Hello, I'm Krista Gibson, and this is Growing Older and Wiser. Well, here in Phoenix, Arizona, the weather is starting to get warm, and in fact, this weekend we're supposed to have over 100-degree weather again. And honestly, it's my third summer here, and I'm sort of looking forward to it. Anyway, I went to get my hair trimmed and told my hairstylist, I said, give me a shortcut for the summer, because I'll be going in the pool a lot. It's going to be really warm. And she said, well, how short is short? And I said, well, start cutting and we'll see. This is what we ended up with. And like I told her, I said, don't worry about it. I said, if I decide I don't like it, it'll grow back. I had a friend years ago who owned her own salon in Seattle, and we used to joke about that. And we said, she should change the name of her salon to It'll Grow Back. So anyway, so far I like it. And I think as the weather gets warmer, I'm going to like it even more. Speaking of haircuts, shall we talk a bit about change and what sorts of changes we look at doing once we're older? And what comes to mind for me is the idea of our vices, and I put vices in quotes, bad habits, habits that we have that maybe we don't like. Now, some people, when they hear the word vices, they immediately think of things like taking drugs, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, whatever. And that really is up to each person to decide. I think, for some people, using a substance of some kind does not interfere with their life and they feel it's okay and it doesn't bother them. Other people, they don't want that in their life at all, because when they engage in whatever that vice is, it wreaks havoc in their lives, on their job, with their relationships. So you have to decide that. What I want to talk more about is this whole idea of making changes at that kind of a level for ourselves. Now, people say the older we get, the harder it is to change. I don't know that I believe that. I think it really isn't so much a function of age as it is how long we've been doing something. And so it would make sense as a general statement that the older we are, the longer we've been doing something. Well, that's not necessarily true. Somebody may not have taken up smoking or drinking or using drugs until they were 60, So it's not a lifelong habit for them. Maybe they've only been doing it for a couple of years. And so I really don't think it's a function of age. What I think it is a function of is our mental flexibility and our willingness to do something different with our lives. And that is the crux of the matter, because that's where we get stuck. We've been going down this particular road so long, whatever it is, and I'm just not going to judge anything, whatever that might be for you, if anything. Maybe you don't have any habits in your life that you're unhappy about, and so just listen to me if you feel like it, or go do something else. But, you determine what that is. And for me, the way I have to look at it is I ask myself, whatever the issue is that I'm dealing with does it serve me? Does it serve me, and does it help me go where I want to go in my life? If it does, then I call that a good habit. If it doesn't, then I call it a quote-unquote bad habit, and one that I would like to change. I think if a behavior supports us in what we're doing in our lives and where we want to go with our lives, and we're okay with it, then why change it? On the other hand, if it's making you uncomfortable or causing problems, then look at changing it. And the very first thing to remember is don't push against it. The minute that you push against something in your life, the more it's going to come after you. I don't know how many times, I've said, I'm going on a diet. And the minute I say that, everything inside me starts craving all the things that I shouldn't have. Where if I just say, okay, today I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to make healthy choices, I don't get pushback to that. I get pushback to the word diet. Because I was put on my first diet when I was 4 years old by my dear mom, who meant well. But, it created some real havoc in my life. So for me, it's where do I want to make a change? Once I decide what that change is that I want to make, and I find out how is it serving me, I find ways to accomplish the same thing in a different way that I find to be more acceptable to me, healthier to me. I find out how is it serving me. I also make a list or find out how is it not serving me. How are ways that this isn't to my benefit? What are some things that I need to let go of because it's not helping me out in my life going where I want to go? Once I've done those things and I've kind of played around with that, that kind of leads pretty easily into what changes do I need to make. And from there, it's how do I do that? How do I make those changes? I have found that pretty much once I decide that I really want to make the change, and I've decided how I want to make the changes, how that's going to help me, the how to get there seems to flow pretty easily. Whether I find something online, whether I see something on TV, whether I overhear a conversation, I read something in a novel, then the how becomes very clear as to how I want to do it. It may not work for you, and what you do may not work for me, but I find what works for me, and then I incorporate that into my life. So where I'm going with all of this today, this whole discussion, is no matter how old we are, we can change. And no matter how old we get, part of the wisdom as we grow older is knowing where do we want to change and where don't we want to change, rather than just digging our heels in and saying, I'm not going to change. Well, yeah, maybe I will. I just have to know what that is and how it's going to serve me to do some things differently. Well, there's some things for you to think about, maybe some actions to take or not to take, and I hope that you have a fabulous week. Thanks for being here.